Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in and pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, how's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. I've been sick all day, though. I've just been feeling
Oh,
really crummy, so yeah.
like the kind of sick that you can, catch up on your video games,
No,
or
actually,
no?
I tried playing Darksiders 2 for probably 20 minutes and it made me even more nauseous. And
Oh,
I was just like, okay, we're just gonna throw on some Harry Potter and I'm just gonna lay on the couch and be,
oh,
yeah. So I was feeling a little better by like mid afternoon. So then, yeah, we had to go out and see some of Joel's friends that were down from, I believe, Ontario somewhere. So. Yeah, they were down visiting, so we went over there for dinner, and then now I'm here, but I'm pretty wiped, so sorry in
oh.
advance, guys, if I'm not my normal bouncy self.
Well, we had a pretty energetic and
We had an intense episode
intense.
last week.
Yeah, so this week we're just gonna chill, watch a
Yeah,
little Harry Potter.
nothing too
You
fancy.
guys are welcome to join in. We're watching Deathly Hallows Part One.
Well, actually, part two is on Netflix, but I couldn't find any of the other Harry Potters on
What?
Netflix. I know,
That
it's
makes no
weird.
sense.
It's the very last movie in the whole series, and anyways, this is not a movie podcast.
We should do a Harry Potter podcast. We could
Because
write the
there
eighth
aren't
book. Perfect.
18 of those already.
Are there?
I don't know. There must be Harry Potter podcasts. What's wrong with you?
What do they talk about?
I
we're
don't know.
gonna we're gonna read the first book again, everybody. talk about let's talk about
Maybe.
video games.
So, I know I don't have that much this week because I worked 4 days in a row after our last episode. So I worked Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Then I was off Wednesday, Thursday, and I was sick today. So I've played like nothing. I did have a very significant life event, but well, I guess is it a very significant life event? I feel like it's a very significant life event, but I probably
Better
just played
explain
too
before
much WoW. So
people start making assumptions. What is this life event? I don't even know what you're gonna talk about.
I hit 90 in WoW.
Oh,
That's a very significant life event. It's taken me like a year and a
Jocelyn,
half.
if your mother was listening to this podcast, she'd
Oh
be
my
like,
god.
"Oh my god! Oh, she
Oh.
hit 90 in that video game."
That thing she always talks about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't
So
want to listen to this podcast.
she'd probably disown me as a daughter.
So okay, you hit 90. You beat me to 90. I think didn't we
Which
have
is
like sort of
amazing.
had like sort of a when we started playing WoW again. I was like, oh, I'm 85. You'll never catch up. I'll hit 90 before you guys.
Well, yeah, but then you totally like quit for like a year.
A year and then played for a month and quit for another year because
Yeah.
you've been playing for a couple years now, haven't you?
Well, actually, I started back in the beginning of 2012, so January, because I started playing with Joel as like we would have our WoW date nights, and so we just go and play WoW and talk on Skype and stuff like that when I was living in Ontario and he was living out in Nova Scotia. So that was pretty much when we started because we started dating at the beginning of December of 2011. So. Yeah, so we kind of started that up in 2012, and then I've been playing ever since. Not very intensely, though, because I know there's some people that can level their characters in 2 weeks, and for me, it took, well, I mean, January 2012 till, like, this week, so what's that, like 18 months?
That's so crazy. That's too much time. Although when I think about it, it's taken me like 6 years to get to level 90.
That's all I'm saying, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man.
So, but I mean, it's good. We never got burnt out on it. We played it like once a week because we only ever played together. And actually, I'm gonna just preface all of this by saying I actually wrote an article about, well, now a 3-part article because it ended up being way longer than
It's
I
like
thought
Lord
it
of the
was
Rings,
going to be.
right?
Yeah.
When do you guys say you shall not pass? Is that like before you release the second article?
No, the second one is out now. It's the third one.
Oh,
But yeah, so I did the first article came out yesterday. The second article came out today, and then the next one's coming out on Tuesday. And it's basically like my journey to 90, what I think the problems are with leveling, and like just kind of like my experience. The first two articles are really building up my experience leveling in WoW because I know that there's a lot of people who are playing WoW who've been playing for 7 or 8 years, and the leveling experience to them is way different than what I experienced in the last year. Because I mean, like, even when I was starting to get up to the Pandaria content, which was supposed to be really hard, take a long time to go through, and all the rest of it, it got nerfed right before I hit it. So, you know, it went from being a like 13 million XP to go from 85 to 86 down to like 8 million. And I was just like, okay. So I mean, I hit 90 and we're still questing in Valley of the Four Winds. Like, I haven't seen anything else in Pandaria other than I went to Two Moons to do some PvP, but that was it.
Yes, we did.
We did, yeah, but other than that, I haven't seen much of
Are we
Pandaria.
allowed to talk about that? Because it was like sort of like a secret.
We're not allowed to talk about that.
We're not. We don't talk about that.
No.
Okay. Now everyone's like, "What are they talking about?"
No, we
Secret
just
Warcraft.
our guild got together and went from Two Moons across the valley and raided the Alliance city of with 7 stars, 7 suns, 7. No, we're Two Moons. They're 7. They're 7 of something. Who cares? They're Alliance.
Why?
Nobody pays attention to them anyway.
It required us to open like the gate, right?
Yes,
so
the gate.
I'm like, I'm coming, guys. And Joel told me during the day, like, you got to get in there an hour ahead and open the gate. And I was like, I don't need to open the gate. I would
What
think
does
they
Joel
would,
know?
No, Joel knows a lot. I mean, I was just thinking that, like, oh, if I ride late, maybe they'll just summon me in because
Yeah.
warlocks can summon people. But
Yeah.
I don't think they were doing any summoning. It was sort of just
Yeah.
get there. So
Well,
like I
and
finally
see, that's
get
the
gate.
thing. Everyone expects you to be max level and for this not to be a problem.
Yeah, and I think it's just because, I mean, AI is a pretty, I mean, they are friendly in terms of
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
just starting out friendly, but when it comes to these major events, it's sort of like if you're not 90, then you need to get
Yeah.
to where we're going, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, that's totally understandable. I mean, AIE is a pretty hardcore guild in the sense that a majority of the players, I assume, would probably hit 90 a couple months after launch, right?
Oh, if that.
At least the
Most
hardcores,
people
I mean.
had 90s, you know, the month that Pandaria came out, you know, like I was talking to the Valentines and they were leveling their pandas and I was like, that's awesome, I'm going to play a panda too, I'm so excited, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, I'm level 10, what level are you? 40. And then I talked to them like 2 days later and they were like 70. And then like 2
Oh
days
my
after
God.
that and they were like max. And I was like, oh, I'm
See, I
level
can't do
12.
that. I mean, when I played WoW, when I played through Cataclysm, I think I was homesick a couple days, like the good kind of sick, where you
Yeah.
actually get to play video games, but you're too sick to go to work, in the sense that you're contagious. But I just sat there for 2 days and leveled my warlock to like from 80 to 85, and because of the nerf, I've only experienced like 2 zones. But
Right.
I think that's probably going to end up happening again with Pandaria because I think I'm like 87 now. I didn't do a bunch of pet battles to hit 90.
Which
You did
is
that by accident, did you not?
I did. Basically, what I was doing is I was just trying to find stuff to kind of like kill time. And what I wanted to do was max out my professions because when I hit 90, I wanted to already have all my PvP gear created because as a leather worker, I can make all of my like base level PvP gear so I don't get absolutely murdered when I enter the battlegrounds. Because in battlegrounds, when you go in at max level, you're only playing with other max level players. So the only difference between me and the hunter on the Alliance side is our gear. You know, like in terms of all, well, I guess we could have different talent choices, but generally, like, you know, base stats are all going to be really similar. Like, you know, it's a 90 hunter versus a 90 hunter, and the difference is what you're wearing and what you've chosen to buff and everything else. So, I mean, gear becomes a really, really big deal at max level, and you know, like you can have 2 level 90 people that are vastly different in terms of power and health, and the only difference is that they've geared. So I was just running around skinning turtles and collecting the pets that I didn't have in the 2, like the very first starting zone, Jade Forest, and the second starting zone, or the second zone in Pandaria, which is Valley of the Four Winds. So I just went through the 2 zones that we had already been through and did all the pet battles, and before I knew it, I was like, oh, 90. So I was kind of like, sorry guys.
Well, I mean, that being said, it's not like you're gonna do professional rating now. You do well. I mean, you are gonna do rating, but you do plan on doing quest content as well, going through like catching Joel up to 90, and
Well, and that's the
eventually
thing.
I'll log in and
Questing in Pandaria is actually really, really fun. It fixes a lot of the problems that I had in levels 1 to 85, you know? Even though it's still the same sort of stuff where like it's go here, kill 10 things, come back. It's like you go in and you get all the quests from a quest hub. You go to all the locations that you need to go to, which are all kind of ahead of where you've been before. Like you never feel like you're going backwards.
Mhm.
And you know, you might have to kill things and collect things and talk to a dude. You go back to return your quests, and then you don't have to go back there again. The next quest hub is ahead. So like you're always pushing forward through Pandaria as opposed to out and back and out and back and out and back, and it's
right. I think what they did with Pandaria, I mean, just coming from my experience in playing pretty much every expansion as it came out, is that the Pandaria content is really the first time where you don't feel bad not getting XP. Because XP is sort of your reward. You're like, okay, I got to finish this crappy quest where I get 10 wolf tails in the middle of a tundra, so I can get that like 10,000 XP.
right.
With this one, you're getting story, you're getting voiceover content, you're seeing what
Random cutscenes all over the place.
yeah, cutscenes. I mean, right now I'm in the location where you're kind of watching Storm Stout and his little niece kind of go around, and
Right.
as you complete quest hubs, that story continues, and you get that voiceover, and the quests are just so much more interesting in Pandaria that you
Yeah.
don't feel bad that you're not getting rewarded for it,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Well,
So,
you're still, we should say, still getting rewarded. You still get XP, and once you hit 90, which is something I didn't know, you don't get XP anymore, obviously, because you don't have any more leveling to do, but you get a absurd amount of gold. I'm getting like 20 gold for completing one quest now. It's crazy. I keep
okay.
looking at my little bank account, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be so oh my god, where did all that gold come from?
So you can fly now then. Have you got or is that what you're
I
working towards next?
didn't. I have the money for it, but I didn't actually get my flying because I wanted to keep up with you guys in that sense. As long as you guys are on the ground, I'm going to stay on the ground so that we can quest together, and I'm not going to be like, haha, I'm flying and you're not, which is totally something
Really?
I would do. Come on.
That is some self-control. I would think you'd be up there kind of doing donuts in the sky.
What
Like,
I
hey guys,
did
I'm on
do,
my serpent.
I went and got my cloud serpent,
Nice.
but the thing you have to do is you have to raise it from a hatchling, so it's a daily. So I went and got my cloud serpent hatchling, so I'm raising it so that I figure kind of by the time you guys finally catch up and are 90 and have your Pandarian flying will be the time when my cloud serpent is ready, and then I can have a cloud serpent when you guys are flying on your lame regular Azerothian mounts.
Hey, I have a dragon, so
Oh, I don't have a
a
dragon.
regular dragon, not a sea serpent, or I guess it would be a flying serpent. Anyway,
Cloud
it's weird.
serpent.
It feels whenever we talk about WoW, it's like people's like, wait a minute, did I tune into like the gamers in from a year ago? Because this is funny, because this is like kind of well, I guess it wouldn't be a year ago. This would be sort of October area, so maybe we're like in the beta. Because it feels like we're talking about like early stuff, but really like we're just really casual WoW players,
Yeah.
which is nice. Because I mean, I played WoW hardcore for an amount of time in college, and it was just like you literally couldn't play any other video game and still get your studies done and have a social life. It was either WoW or something else. I mean, that was the main reason why I stopped playing WoW. It's like there's just so many other games I want to play, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, I got to raid in 10 minutes. Yeah,
Well, and that's the thing. That's content that I've never done. I mean, the only raid, I'm using air quotes, that I did was I got run through Black Temple with, I think, it was Joel and and then I think 3 level 90s. And they just, like, ran us through and got us the final Illidan fight, and then we killed Illidan, and then we left. And I was just like, well, thanks, but, you know, like, I don't understand why, like, are there no quests? Is there no story? Like, I never really got the story out of WoW, which is what I'm liking about Pandaria, is that everything is instant. Like, I ran ahead through the next zone to get to the Tiger Temple to open the gate to do the AIE PvP thing. And then, like, there were no quest hubs except for right at the very beginning because there's, like, a huge battle going on, so all the villages have been, like, razed. So you have to, I assume, go through and help each village like kind of rebuild and everything else, and then as you progress then you unlock things like flight masters and everything else. So it's really interesting. It's all instanced and just, you know, really cool content that makes it so you have to experience the story. You can't just jump ahead, because we had to jump ahead. If we hadn't jumped ahead, we would have been just earning no XP and doing quests in zones that were way below our level. Like you said that you leveled through Kata in 2 days in 2 zones. We leveled through Kata in 1 zone. We did Deep Home, that's all. And we went from 80 to 85.
Well, I mean, I did a lot of like dungeon finder because I was thinking like I'm never gonna do these dungeons again, so I'm just gonna do the dungeons. And the great part about, at least with Kata, is that same thing with Pandaria, is that all of the quests were at the very start, and even if they were if the people were just had an interest in getting through the content, you could still grab those quests. And also I'm DPS, so it's not like they would ever be waiting on me. Yeah, I mean, WoW's interesting. I mean, it still holds a special place in my, you know, gaming heart, I guess.
I really, really, really enjoy it. I just find that now I've spent so much time trying to get to the end. And then now I'm at the end because that's where all my friends are. But now I have no idea what to do. They've been 90 for the last like 6 to 8 months. So they're way geared further than me. They've already done all the patch contents. Because, I mean, there was Throne of Thunder and then the Trolls patches that came out. So basically the 5.4 patch, which is coming out later on this year, is the big finale to Pandaria. So I haven't even played through the Pandaria content that came with the original expansion, and then there's been 2 more major patches. 5.1 didn't have any new quest content. 5.1 was just a whole bunch of fixes and stuff. So 5.2 was the Thunder King and 5.3 was the Troll Rebellion. So I still feel like I'm not caught up, but I'm just like, excuse me, I don't know what to do now. You know, I don't know where to go or, you know, what my next steps are. I knew I wanted a Cloud Serpent, so I went there. But other than that, I'm just kind of like, the game hasn't really told me where to go. And I don't really, like, I'm going to go back and quest through Valley of the Four Winds because I'm almost done all of those quest lines, I think. So I'm just like, then what? You know, then do I quest through all the other zones? Like, I just...
Yeah. I mean, that's, you nailed it on the head. Like, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but that's pretty much the main reason why I would stop subbing for WoW. It's like, okay, I hit max level. This is what I find interesting about this game, is the quest content. And it's like, well, I don't want to do quests for no XP, and I also don't want to get on a rating. I don't want to do the gear grind, because that's not interesting to me. I mean, I know it's interesting for a lot of people, but it's just a big time commitment.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people probably now are saying, it's like, oh, no, it's, you know, there's probably a way to do it without it being, but I don't know. But I'm just saying, like,
I think
that's the main reason why I
flex
stopped.
rating will make a difference, I think. You know, then, like, you and I and Joel and, you know, maybe a couple of other people that we've got. We now have a group of 5 people that are in the 80s that are doing dungeons together, which is really, really fun. And so the 5 of us will be able to queue for raids with only 5 people instead of having to have 10, and then, you know, we'll just get grouped with another group of 5 and go. And so it's not quite LFR. We're still going to be able to play with some friends, which is way better because, I mean, the idea of playing in LFR makes me want to vomit a little.
Well, yeah.
I am also sick right now, guys, so I mean, that could have something to do with it, but...
No, there will be vomiting. Yeah, there's some weird comments that come out when you get, like, LFG, because you don't know who you're going to group with. It's not like...
Well, that's the thing, right?
It's like being anonymous on the internet. People just, you know, they want to make
because we want to encourage that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you play with strangers, especially if they're strangers from different, like, realms and stuff. Like, if they have that little asterisk behind them, oh, man. That's, like, a whole extra level of anonymity. You know,
well, because that's the
that
thing. You can't even... Because I've been in PvP matches before, because all PvP matches are cross-realm. Or at least they are at lower levels. I don't know what it's going to be like when I hit 90, but... Or, I don't know what it's going to be like now. But, you get into conversations with people, and you're like, oh my god, I actually met a nice person in a battleground, and then you can literally, like, never talk to them again. unless they
Right.
randomly happen to pop into your battleground again. But like, I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
I don't know. I think like unless you got their battle tag, because I don't think you can
Well,
add
yeah.
like a player character to
No,
your
you
friends
can't
list
if
if it's
you're
different.
different realm. Yeah. So.
It, it, yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what we're doing, whether we're complaining or just talking about something that WoW is an interesting game, and I liked our dungeon runs because that sort of feels like the best of all the worlds because you're
Hmm.
getting quest content, you're getting story that you wouldn't necessarily get by soloing, and you're also having to coordinate. You know,
Hmm.
we're all on vent, we're all taking down a big boss.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name
We
names.
die.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm not going to name names, but I was talking to somebody who said they were watching our playback of I can't remember which dungeon, but it was the
Jade
dungeon
Temple.
where the boss killed us a bunch of times,
Yeah.
and he says to me, he says, "I was just watching it." It's like, "Oh my God, guys, no, no, no!" And we kept dying. It's like, well, I mean, it wouldn't be very fun if we just beat it.
Or yeah, if we just knew, like that's what Joel was saying afterwards, is that it was really nice of quoted Nevermore to come in and heal for us, but it was like an auto win button, and it's like we were
We
at
needed it at
level,
that
and
point.
well we did, yeah, like it was our fourth try I think, and but I mean I would have rather just kind of said we're good, we'll just let Ben gear up a little and get his heals up a little, and then we'll go back at it again.
Oh man, but you got to finish the dungeon.
No,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more of the kind of person that's like, if I'm spending like 2 hours doing something, it's got to be finished. I'm like one of those guys who, like, if you play a melody on a piano and you don't finish it, it's like, oh my God, now we need to finish it. And like
so you're a little like OCD then.
a little bit, like if you go and you don't do anything, I'll go crazy for the rest of the night. But the thing is that I had a lot of fun doing that content, and it's nice to have an auto win button because after a while, it's like you're hitting your head against the wall constantly.
But like, I mean, I think what I liked so much about wiping so often in Jade Temple is that, and I mean, anonymous person who wanted to kill us over the internet.
It was Bob.
I knew it was Bob.
He was the only guy.
I mean, Joel and I have never run dungeons. The only experience we have is like here and there we'll go back, and like when we're 80, we ran something at level 70 sort of thing. But we have never done 5-man at level dungeon content. So having to coordinate, and I mean, we're not geared at all. So, we're just literally running in blind and trying to run the content. And I think that kind of an experience is lost on a lot of older WoW players, who had the slower leveling experience, who had a 5-man team like we have now and ran dungeons all the way through. Like, I mean, I basically know what the roles are with what the tank is supposed to do and what the DPS is supposed to do and what the healer is supposed to do. But I mean, it's complicated and it's hard. And if you get a boss that you don't understand the mechanic or that you're not great at, then I mean, why wouldn't you fail? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong. Like, we don't all have to be pros the first time through a dungeon.
Well, it may be very different now, but I remember again when I was in university, I had a friend, my roommate, raided pretty regularly, and I would hear their vent channel conversation just going into his room and kind of seeing what he was up to. And I'd hear like the raid leader say, "Okay, I hope everybody did their homework, knows what this boss is gonna do. You need to step into the circle, out of the circle,
Yeah,
shake it all
like
about." Like
that's
it's
not fun. That doesn't immerse me in the experience. If I have
yeah.
somebody come in and say, "Okay, do this, stand here, push this, and then do that," that's not fun. I want to go in and get my ass kicked, and then be like, "Okay, I'm not gonna do that next time."
But you got to understand also that if you're in a 25-man raid and you want to experience it, that's a lot of gold if you continuously wipe. I mean, I agree. I agree with you in the sense that I don't want to be told, what steps to take, but
Mhm.
there has to be a happy medium in order to, make it worthwhile, right?
I
'Cause if
guess
you
I
just
would. I would rather learn with my team as opposed to, and I do know that means that you're going to die a lot and, whatever. But yeah, I would rather learn with my team and just kind of move forward that way as opposed to Googling the best way to beat the boss and, then saying, "Okay, everybody, you stand here, you do this."
I mean, some raid teams will like go on to the beta server the PTRs, learn how to beat the boss, and then write a guide, and then have that ready for when
Mm-hmm.
it goes live. And I mean, at that point, I guess that is what you're talking about. You need to get on the PTR and learn with everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Go an extra level of hardcore. That's like a 6-part series right there.
Yeah, that is so just not for me.
Hey, the
um,
PTR is free. I don't think you need a subscription. So
do you not need a subscription even?
I think you need an active subscription as of like a month before it goes on the PTR.
Oh, I see. Cool, cool.
But
That is way more WoW than I thought that we would be talking this week, but
eh.
that's good
But
though.
so
It's good. I'm glad that you're still enjoying it and are still subbed. Yay!
I still enjoy it, and I still enjoy talking about it. Even when I wasn't playing, I'd love to chat about it. And I
Mm-hmm.
listen to a lot of or at least one WoW podcast,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and just to kind of keep tabs on it. But so your the third part is these articles are on Doghouse.
Yes, the
Doghouse Network.
DogHouseNetwork.com. So that's
Right.
where all of the game reviews and editorials and all that kind of stuff goes. So the first part went up yesterday, the second part went up today, and the third part goes up on Tuesday. And I split it into, it ended up being way, way longer than I meant it to be, but I thought that I really needed to explain like who I was as a WoW player and what my experience was leveling for the first time. So the first one is basically just like me getting into WoW and why I started playing, when I started to play, and kind of what I was doing while everyone else was getting into WoW. Because I mean, like I said, I started in 2012 and the game came out in 2004, I think.
Hmm.
So, I mean, like, I'm way behind on this whole WoW thing. So I kind of explained why it took me so long to get into it. And then the second article I wrote, or the second part of the article I wrote, is all about our experience leveling and going from kind of 1 to 85. And
Okay.
then the last part is kind of,
Spoilers.
yeah, I know, Woo,
Part
is
three spoilers.
part three spoilers, is basically just me doing the last little bit, getting to 90, and then my impressions of the entire leveling process. So,
Oh, neat.
um, it's I'm sure that some people are probably going to be pissed off at me because I didn't really come down on the like kind nice side towards WoW, but I just
Oh,
want to let everybody know I do love WoW. I do love playing, and I'm pretty sure I said that in the article at some point. So like I'm not trying to trash WoW. I just think that there are some serious issues with leveling in particular, to the point that like they might as well just like sell us level 90 characters because leveling is just not fun.
well, it's a 8-year-old system, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as they slap a new coat of paint on it every couple years, it's still an 8-year-old system. And I mean, that's not saying that other MMOs are doing it better, but leave it to Blizzard, they'll probably fix their own problem
Hmm.
come
Somehow,
Titan.
yeah. I feel like well, yeah, you guys can all just go to
Read the article.
doghousenetwork.com and read the articles. I think that they're pretty good. Comment, send us an email here or whatever you want. I want to hear back from you guys because this was it was a very much like lay my heart out onto the computer screen, and it was a
She
very
vo-
emotional.
she word vomited.
My word vomited all over the computer. But yeah, so it was, yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think. And I know a lot of you have played a whole lot more WoW than I have. So I'd like to kind of get the experienced WoW players' view on it as well. So, but you have been finally playing Pikmin 3. How was that?
Guys, Wii U game came out,
We should
and
have
it's
like fireworks or some kind of
yeah.
celebration.
Oh man, Nintendo. It's been 8.5 months, Jocelyn. Imagine that.
That's ridiculous.
That's a long time. And I looked back at this time. I wrote an article, put it up on the Gamers In podcast, talking about waiting on a Wii U game. That's the title, and it's just talking about like having a console sit there for 8.5 months while you're waiting for Pikmin 3. And if you guys have been listening to the Gamers In for a long time, and I know you have, Pikmin 3 has sort of been brought up every once in a while, and usually in quickfire news, where it's like, oh, it's coming out during the launch window, it's coming out early summer, it's coming out late summer. It got delayed 3 times, and it's finally here, and I'm playing it, and it's the best Wii U game you could ever imagine,
Ryan,
surprisingly.
there's only been like three
I
Wii U games. Saying that Pikmin 3 is the best Wii U game is not really saying a whole lot.
I know. I mean, I ran that line past Paul, and he said to me, "It's like he said the exact same thing." And it's like, well, probably shouldn't have led with that. It's super true that it is the best Wii U game, but it's also one of my favorite games of 2013. So you got BioShock Infinite, you got The Last of Us, and then you got Pikmin 3 up there. And this is
Really?
yeah, it's I love Pikmin, and this is why I have to say that um, Pikmin 3 is a great game for me, but might not be a great game to convince people to buy a Wii U. Because I think it's one of the lower tier Nintendo franchises above Star Fox, but not quite at the very bottom there. A lot of Star Fox fans are going to be upset at me. But I think Pikmin is not as noticeable. So when Nintendo says, like, here's our first sort of, first franchise title for the Wii U, go buy a Wii U, I'm sure a lot of people look at Pikmin 3 and say, I'll wait for Mario. Like, have you ever played a Pikmin game before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so in that sense, when you look at Pikmin just based on the marketing material and screenshots and trailers and whatnot, does
I
that look
haven't seen any marketing material.
You haven't?
No, dude, I think there was something. Oh shoot, when was it? Maybe the Wii U launch. I feel like there was like one really really short little video, and it wasn't even really like a trailer. It was like gameplay, and it was maybe a minute long, and that is literally all I've seen. There's like a whole bunch of little dudes that have like flowers on their head or something, and they're like running around.
It's
I haven't seen anything. Nintendo sucks at marketing.
well, that being said, how many video game commercials do you see?
Well, we don't have cable anymore, so that's fair enough. But I mean, like,
But you're right, Nintendo does suck at marketing. I mean, I
yeah.
watched they had two Nintendo Directs this week, and I've never watched one. I always just see the news after.
Hmm.
I finally sat down and watched one that was solely dedicated to another Wii U game coming out next month, The Wonderful 101. And I'm just sitting there watching, and it's like, they really need to put an American in charge of this because it's really awkward, and I really hope they're trying to be funny because it's like, we bring this news directly to you. It's just so weird, and that's like translated too, right?
Oh
So
my God.
in the Japanese, they are you can tell that that's what they're saying, but when you translate, it's just really stale and awkward.
Mm.
And it's a 20-minute video, and every 2 minutes after they finished like a bit where they'd explain a feature, they'd cut back to the title screen. The Wonderful 101 releases on September 15th. And that's how it sounded, and that would play every 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
It was just really awkward. So, I mean, you're right. Nintendo does suck at marketing, but that's besides the point. Pikmin 3 is a sort of an RTS in the sense that you have your Pikmin, you are using them to collect
I'm Googling it, just so you know.
items. Yeah, that's fine. You're collecting items, you're killing enemies to kind of take them back to the Pikmin base, which is called the Onion, to build more Pikmin.
I wondered, because I saw you tweet something about
Yeah.
you're taking the Pikmin to the Onion or something, and I was like, Ryan, what the hell are you playing?
Hardcore Pikmin people get what I was talking. They got my language there, and
Uh,
so you play as three sort of, I think they call them copiates or whatever. They're just three astronauts, and they crash land on this planet.
Dear
And that's-
astronauts.
Yes, they are astronauts. I mean, I'm explaining the core story bits. Usually, you'd play as Captain Olimar. That's like the main dude, but he's nowhere to be seen because you're playing as these three sort of astronauts that are trying to find food for their starving planet.
I wish
I mean,
I'd prepped this ahead of time so I had pictures to throw up right now, because they're actually really funny.
it's a very cute game,
It looks adorable.
the HD graphics, like this is I think Nintendo's first stab at an HD game, and it's not. It could probably be better. I mean, there are a lot of like low res textures, especially like the ground and stuff that when you get up close you can see it, but it still looks really cool. And I'm really excited to play more HD Nintendo titles. But Pikmin's really known for being like a dark, sort of having a darkness to it, in the sense that the first one was you crash landed on a planet, your space bits of your space shuttle go everywhere. Just you land and just space bits everywhere. And the whole point of the game is you have 30 days left on your life support, and you need to go around collecting the items and it's a time-based system, so you literally have 30 units of time to get all your items, and if you don't progress through the game fast enough, you get game over.
Well, it's the same as like Mario. I'm thinking there was always the timer in Mario, and if you didn't make it through the level, then you died.
No, no, no. You get game over, and you have to start the whole game over again.
Oh, like traditional old school game
Yeah.
over. Like
Really
real
cool.
game over.
Like, if this was all voiceover, then you'd be like, this is Nintendo making a game that I want to play a Nintendo game again because it's got like actual difficulty
Yeah.
and exploration
Well, that's
and
always
discovery.
something I struggle with Nintendo
Mhm.
games and was really ticked off about with Skyward Sword that I still have not finished. Is because like I freaking love Zelda, but it's not hard and you're not exploring. It's very lock and key, like you walk up this path and you either have the thing or you don't have the thing. And if you don't have the thing, then you have to go back down the path and look to see what you missed and then, oh, I found the thing, shocking, in the one room I didn't go into or whatever. And then I walk up the path again and open the door, and oh, what do you know? It's another room with another thing I have to find to unlock another door further up the path. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Nintendo sort of, and this one's the same way. It's like it starts off very rudimentary in the sense that they start you off with one captain, the other two are stranded, and you have to save them, and they're reintroducing you to like each variety of Pikmin and saying like, oh, the fire Pikmin can withstand fire, guys, and it's like, yeah, this is the third game. I understand it's been 10 years, but
mhm.
it's I usually just wade through it. I'm kind of jaded, so I got to get to the good part of this. And basically, you're on this planet. This third one is also dark because you're on the planet trying to save your home planet from starvation. You're on the Pikmin planet collecting fruit. Again, Nintendo, what's your deal with fruit?
Do you have to like auction it and buy turnips and stuff?
I think that's the end game, to be honest. I'm not sure. But you're collecting fruit, you're bringing it back to your space station, you're juicing it. There's literally an animation for juicing. It's glorious in HD. And you build up like a reserve of food, and that food you get 1 jar per day, and it keeps you alive. That's sort of like your life. I don't know why I did that, but if you run out of juice, then you get game over, right? So it's sort of that, again, that dark undertone where, like, if we don't succeed, our entire planet could starve. It's in the way background of the story, but they still bring it up, which is kind of interesting. But it's a lot of fun, and I guess if you own a Wii U, you're not really doing anything else with it, so by
Might as
default, you should be
well.
picking this up.
So,
Um,
okay, that brings up an excellent point, is that the Wii U, not a really, what's the good word for it? Not a lot of people own it.
No, it's I think like
Not
in the last
persuasive. Anyways,
attractive. I don't
no.
know. Like
The word for meaning it's everywhere.
oh. So
Oh,
the
it's gonna
word for
bug me.
meaning the opposite of it being everywhere. Insert that here. Whoever edits this podcast, I'm not going to do it. The definition is below. No, it's not. I mean, in the last quarter, I think it sold 160,000 units,
That's
which
not very much.
is
Is that
not a lot.
just in North America or is that worldwide? Because if that's worldwide, then
worldwide.
that's pretty. I was gonna say pretty lame, but pretty disappointing. I think is a better term.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not disappointed. You know why? Because there's no freaking reason to buy a Wii U. Like until Pikmin 3.
So I was gonna say, is Pikmin 3 a reason to buy the Wii U? Like, I mean, it's a pretty huge investment still. How much is it? $3.99? $4.99? What are we talking?
No, it is $349 for the deluxe, which is the unit you want to get because it's black, it looks sexy. But also, I think it's the one with the big hard drive, and has like a couple other perks. But I think they've even discontinued the white one. I haven't seen it anywhere lately. But
Yeah. So you're talking $349 plus the cost of the actual game, which is Wii U games are a little bit cheaper than Xbox and PlayStation, aren't they? Aren't they $50?
no, they're not. They're $59.99. I mean, Nintendo sort of jumped up.
I'm thinking of 3DS games being $40, but they're portable, so that's why.
3DS games. If you don't own a Nintendo system and you're thinking of getting a Nintendo system, I still can't recommend the Wii U. Go
Yeah.
for the 3DS.
Which is very disappointing, but I feel like the Wii U is probably something I'm going to pick up because I like Nintendo first party
You got to give it
games.
time.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna wait until there's not a 3DS Zelda, an actual Zelda. Though maybe I'll get a Zelda Wii U console too, and then it'll match my Zelda 3DS, which I don't actually own yet, and they have not announced, but I'm totally holding out for because they're totally gonna make one. So anyways.
I thought they would have announced it, but when it comes to the Wii U, no, Pikmin 3 solely isn't the game to go out and buy a Wii U for, unless you're a big fan of Pikmin.
Hmm.
If this is what you've been waiting for, then by all means, this is the Pikmin game you want to play, right?
Oh,
But
that's good.
you want to probably, if it's not what would convince you, you need another game or maybe three, then wait till, and you're not picking up a PS4 or Xbox
Hmm.
One, because let's be honest, picking up both of them, you'd be rich and you'd probably just go out and buy it anyways, right? It's like, oh, not that I'm rich, not so far away from that.
Moving
Just
on.
stupid. But yeah, no, I'm just thinking that like if you want to buy the Wii U, I would wait until maybe there's a new Mario game coming out in December, but
Hmm.
Mario Kart's next year, and so is Smash Brothers, and those are both looking really nice. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So hold off another year for a Wii U. That makes sense.
yeah, another year maybe, but I don't know, maybe like 4 months if you're really into Nintendo titles, because they are going to be coming out one after the other
Hmm.
until December, like a new
Yeah.
tentpole awesome game.
So I'm
Um,
actually, I was gonna move the show along, but we got a question from the chat room, which we have a live chat room every Friday night. We start the show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't think we've actually mentioned that live on the air for a while. So just so everybody knows, we are twitch.tv/amovetv is where we go live. Again, 8:30 p.m. Eastern every Friday night. So the chat room says, what do you think Nintendo needs to do? This is from Scotty D, Utah. What do you think that Nintendo needs to do to help the Wii U? I'm definitely not the right person to ask because my opinion is that they should scrap doing hardware at all and that they should just develop for Xbox and PlayStation. So, in terms of actually helping the Wii U, I don't even know.
well,
Ryan, what do you think?
every time you bring that up, I never really had like a solid response for it, but I've been
It's
thinking about
because
it
I'm
lately.
right. Okay, let's move on.
No, it's not because you're right. It's because it's kind of like this weird off the cuff statement that doesn't really make sense. I mean, Sega went software only, and look at the awesome Sonic titles that have been coming out. I mean, do you think if Nintendo solely developed for the Xbox and PS3, do you think they'd start making games that would suddenly appeal to you more? Like,
Well, that's the thing is that Mario, Zelda, Pikmin. Now that I know more about it, like their first party stuff is really good. I like their IP.
mhm,
My big problem is that the way that they try to implement it with things like motion control, like they're so invested in what I feel are gimmicky things, 3D, motion control, whatever, that usually their hardware, I only buy it for first party stuff. I usually buy it secondhand or, way after the release of everything. Usually when they bring out a Zelda game, because that's the push that I need usually to buy a new
yeah,
Nintendo console. And it's just, I feel that especially given like what you just said, the Wii U numbers, we're talking 160,000 units worldwide. That's ridiculous. Like, why do you even bother? They would make money hand over fist because like right now I'm not paying them $60 to play Pikmin. If it was available on Xbox 360 or PC, I would be paying them $60 to play Pikmin.
mhm,
I may never pick it up now. I may never get a Wii U. I probably won't unless there's something really awesome that comes out that isn't so dependent on motion control in terms of a Zelda. So, I mean, if they just took their IP and went to these platforms that everybody already owns, God, they'd make a killing. I don't think there's any
right.
gamer who doesn't enjoy a Mario, a Zelda, a Mario Kart, or a Pikmin style game. Like,
Mhm. No, those are all valid points, and I mean that. I mean, it's funny we actually touched this in Quickfire, but Iwata had said that sure they'd make money by doing that, but is it long-term profit or is it short-term profit? Like, sure you make a bunch of money up front, but think of all the money they could be making if they're building great games paired with a great system and they own both. So they're getting two revenue streams instead of like one measly one,
I know,
you
but I'm
know?
saying that both those revenue streams are
Hmm.
too small. They're not
Well,
making enough money. If they
you're
were
looking at numbers supported by no games. That's the issue. You want to talk about how do you save the Wii U? you put games on the system, and that is what Nintendo's doing. I mean, they spent those 8.5 months. They weren't sitting there like, oh, I wonder why people aren't buying this Wii U because there's a fancy tablet and you can watch TV with it. They're not. They're sitting there. They're crunching code and making games, right? Like,
You hope.
I don't have to hope anymore because if you look at their release schedule, they got one coming up. They got Pikmin in August. They have Wonderful 101 in September. October is Wind Waker. November is Donkey Kong, and December is Mario. That's like 5 months of
Donkey Kong. That's another great IP.
yeah. And I mean, that's the way you save the Wii U. I mean, does it really does it convince people that don't are kind of jaded by the fact that oh the Wii U has only sold 160,000, it must not be a great console. It is a great console, and I know you didn't say that. I'm just saying that
Words in mouth. Stop it.
but that's what it sounds like you're saying, right? In the sense that it is a great console, but it's not a great console. You know why? Because you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then I mean, maybe it needs a Zelda game, and it also sounds like a lot of the issue people have. And this time I'm not putting words. You said this. Like motion control is an issue, and if motion control is an issue, like Nintendo isn't getting away from that. I mean, I didn't mention this, but I'll mention it now. The best way to control Pikmin 3 is, mind it's awkward, gets hard to get used to, but is having the gamepad in your lap for the map, and also having the nunchuck and the Wiimote. And it's just a matter of
Do you have to juggle with your feet too?
No, I mean, there's no pedals. I'm waiting for Mario Kart to come out, and then there'll be the whole
Course thing.
But no, it's just that's the best way to control Pikmin 3. Controlling with a controller is just really frustrating.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Whether Zelda comes out and it's motion control, who knows? I mean, if you leave it up to Nintendo, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that. It's like if Nintendo puts their stuff on other systems, then they are forced to go with the controller.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that as an attractive sort of just do it Nintendo, because this way I don't have to deal with
all your crazy motion control crap.
Or tablets or wheels or whatever, you know. I get that. I totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So, Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, DogHouse Systems. You can use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase your new gaming rig. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on. Which brings us to Quickfire News.
And more Nintendo. Iwata is dead set against publishing Nintendo titles on other platforms. We're just talking about this.
The first time I read that, all I saw was, Iwata dead! And I was like, what?
Oh, that's morbid.
I know! You write bad titles. Continue.
Dead set is like affirmative, you know, or whatever. In an interview with CBG, Iwata explained that releasing Nintendo franchises on other platforms would only generate short-term profit. And if he were in charge of Nintendo for the next few years, that may be something he'd consider. However, he states that he is in charge of Nintendo's long-term future, and releasing outside of the dedicated Nintendo system would prove detrimental to the company's long-term plans and core values. That's a lot of buzzwords. I just wish Nintendo would consider releasing their properties on their own home console.
Boom.
Yeah. See, I still hate Nintendo too, guys. Don't worry about it.
Connected Realms are coming in WoW 5.4. In an effort to combat player movement to higher populated realms, and in order to maintain the multiplayer part of an MMO, Blizzard will introduce Connected Realms with patch 5.4. The patch will permanently and seamlessly link realms to create new ones with higher populations. Connected Realms will mean you can join the same guilds and use the same auction house, but will not create character name conflicts. 5.4 is expected to come out later this year.
Microsoft adds more behind the paywall, while Sony does not. This week, Microsoft confirmed that you'd be getting even more value for your Xbox Live membership. Not only do you get the best audio-visual conversation tool, Skype, but most awesomely, you get Game DVR. That's right, a paid membership will be required for both features, as well as one guide. TV. Once again, Sony upstaged Microsoft by allowing streaming and capturing of your games for free. No PlayStation Plus required. Also, Skype will not be included with the PS4 as a nice added bonus.
I just have something really quick to throw into Quickfire here, because I just realized this is a really Microsoft moment. with me feeling really sick this morning, I was trying to watch some of Shark Week. So I went on to my console because I bought the season's pass for 2012 last year, but I only downloaded I think the first two, so I had two sitting on my hard drive. It asked me to repay again for the 2012 Shark Week content, and I was just like, what? So I looked on support, nothing. I tried tweeting them, nothing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and double check my account and just make sure that I actually made the purchase I think I made. I'm 99% sure because I remembered like how much money it cost me, and I was like, nope, I will watch this over and over and over again. It'll be fine. I'm going to pay the money and get my content legally. So that's fine. I go on to Xbox.com, log into my account, go to view my account, and it prompts me. It's like, oh, is this still your backup email? And I was like, oh no, I haven't had access to that email for a while, so I'm going to switch it to my Gmail, and that'll be fine. So I switched my email, locked my freaking account for 30 days. They prompted me to change it, and then they locked it down. They're just like, okay, so, is this your email? And so I clicked the drop down, and then I clicked no, use this email, typed in my Gmail, and then instead of sending me an email with a link like every other freaking service ever, they locked my account for 30 days just in case of hackers. Like, what? Anyways, that's my Microsoft
like,
rant for the week.
That sounds like, how Microsoft requires you to call in to cancel your Xbox Live subscription. Just so they can convince you, just in case you were canceling by accident. I don't think they make you do it anymore, but I remember in the past they had that little detail. Yeah. That sucks. I hate Microsoft too.
It made me so angry because I was just like, I first of all really wanted to watch big mean sharks eat things. And then second of all, I wasn't feeling well anyway. And then third of all, I was just like, all I want to do is verify what happened last year because I'm 99% sure I know, but I don't want to yell at a customer service person if it's not deserved. So.
Wait. Are you talking about catching up on Shark Week content?
Well, not catching up.
But it sounded like you were saying, like, I need to know what happened last year on Shark Week because that is dependent on you can't watch that until you watch Shark Week 2013.
No. Oh, I heard Shark Week 2013 was ridiculously awful anyway. There was like shark unicorns or something crazy. Anyway, there wasn't actually shark unicorns. It was just they pulled a story way out of nothing, and it wasn't actually like a documentary. Anyways.
You cut cable so you can watch Shark Week?
But
I would think you'd cut cable so you don't have to watch Shark Week.
There are certain parts of cable that I miss, like live sports and things like Shark Week and, Game of Thrones or whatever. There are certain programs that I would really like to get legally as opposed to illegally downloading. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to pay Microsoft. I'm going to get access to all of this content on my Xbox. It's going to be awesome. 2 of them I downloaded. The rest of them I just streamed. And now I don't have access to the streaming stuff anymore. And nowhere in there was there like limited time seasons pass. It was just like you can buy episode by episode and download to your console, or you can buy the whole season and then download to your console or stream. And I was like, oh, I'll just stream. Big mistake apparently, because now all I have is episodes 1 and 2 instead of the whole 12 or 14 episodes. Not impressed, because that cost me like $50.
Shark Week's expensive.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's like $3 an episode or something. Oof. No, more than that. Because it was I think it's $3 an episode now because it's last year's content. This year's content is $5 or $6 an episode, something like that. I don't know. Anyways, it's expensive. I lost money. I'm very upset. I don't have a whole lot of it to just throw around. So anyways, this is supposed to be quick news.
Well, this isn't news. This is sort of like just a little chunk of extra in there.
So, back to quickfire news. So, it's apologies all around for the Ouya. Although the company has not released the number of backers that did not receive their consoles, it seems that over a month after the Ouya hit stores, some of the Kickstarter backers still have not received their console. Ouya is offering a $13.37 credit in the Ouya store to anyone that was late getting their console. On one hand, it's a nice gesture, but given that only 27% of owners have ever purchased something from the Ouya marketplace, it might just be a ploy to boost numbers and attract developers. Time will tell.
Naughty Dog details original ending of The Last of Us. During PAX Prime in Seattle, Naughty Dog will have a panel detailing the original pitch for The Last of Us, which featured a very different story from what we actually got to play. Details on the alternate plot are available, but due to major spoilers, you're best to investigate yourself. More details should be available after the panel Friday, August the 30th.
Which brings us to our topic of the week, and we're going to make it really, really quick because we're actually already out of time. So basically what we're going to talk about this week is the Xbox Summer of Arcade, because I want to give them more money right now. So
Well, don't worry, you probably won't be giving them much.
yeah, I know.
Oh,
I've got to say, not last year, I feel like, but the year before, whenever it was Bastion and From Dust and I can't remember the other ones, Limbo, I think, like that was a really, really good Summer of Arcade. And I
Right.
found like last year, I think there was two that I was kind of interested in, but then one of them you had to have Connect for, so I was just like, well, I don't have a Connect, so I'm not going to get that one, obviously. And then this year, again, I mean, there's only one that I find interesting. Ryan, what do you think is going on with the Summer of Arcade?
Well,
Way downhill.
Xbox One, that's the biggest.
Yeah, probably.
And
Actually, yeah, that's a really good call.
that being said, I mean, there's only really one game on here that I absolutely have no interest in. I mean, the others are vaguely, but I think with Xbox One, you're seeing a lot of XBLA games get pushed back for the launch of the next gen. Like you have Below from the
Right,
from
right.
Cappy Games. You also have Loco Cycle from the guys who made Missplosion Man. They're usually like in the Summer of Arcade, but this year obviously the game got pushed to be on Xbox One. That's the main reason I think. And this year you get Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is actually reviewing really well.
It looks really cool. Except
Oh, it looks fantastic.
I
The
wasn't.
graphics are amazing. Sorry,
Like-
I just
No, keep
Go, go,
talking
go.
over me. It's awesome. I love it.
no. I'm gonna let you talk.
So, I couldn't really tell. Does it have to be co-op or is it single player where you control two people or two characters?
See, yeah, that's the thing is, if you if you watch the trailer for it, it's actually got the developer sort of jumping in. And he answers the question, "Why isn't there co-op?" And he basically brings a person over and says, "Help me tie this shoe." And it's like watching two people try to tie one shoe. And I think that's a little much, but it would probably work in co-op. But the way you control it is your left hand is the older brother, and the right hand is the younger brother.
Oh, cool.
The sticks move the guys, and the L and R button are their interact for each of them. I played the demo, and I can definitely. It's sort of like a good looking The Walking Dead in the sense that it's being praised for its story, but also the graphics are really nice. I'm not saying it's an adventure title, but in the sense that The Walking Dead was reviewed really well for its story, but the gameplay wasn't that great. In this one, I found that I would get, how you kind of get tongue tied, like I am right now. I would get like controller tied in the
Yeah.
sense that I would forget which one controls which, and the brothers are just going in a whole bunch of different directions, and that's kind of frustrating. But it's a very like slow paced game, and the story is being just heralded as like the greatest thing ever. But you are setting off on an adventure as these two brothers to save your father who is dying.
Oh, that's
And you can
intense.
imagine why the story would be, really thought of well, because hey, the father's dying. I wonder what happens. I mean,
So it's coming out on Steam as well. I see in your notes. So
yeah, and I figured like I got so much going on right now. If I buy it now, I probably won't play it, and then might as well just wait for it on Steam.
yeah. Yeah, very, very true. And then, so Charlie Murder is another one, and you actually, I'm gonna let you describe it because you described it best in the pre-show. So have at it.
Right. This one comes out next week, and Brothers was 1,200 points. This one is 800 points. It kind of looks like a murder simulator Castle Crashers. I don't literally know the details, but based on the trailer, it kind of, which I know is the worst
Yeah.
way to do journalism, but I'm
Well,
going to do
but
it
I
anyway.
mean, on the other hand, the trailer is what they are releasing is, you would think, the best parts of or representation of the video game. So if the trailer's crap, then the game's probably crap.
Well, you would hope so. I mean, there are some bad trailers out there, but yeah, I tend to agree with you in the sense watching the trailer, it just looked like a 4-player beat 'em up, and there's just a lot of like blood and
So
didn't
yeah,
hook.
it looks like no, it's definitely not a title I'm gonna play. Castle Crashers was okay, but I think I talked about it on the show. The really far spaced apart save points, and then having to go through content over and over and over again in Castle Crashers really threw me off because there was a lot of really immature humor, like really immature humor,
There was a
and
lot of pooping
there was
from what I.
so much poop everywhere all the time. And
I
so, I mean, I like a good fart joke as much as anybody else, but come on, like,
There was
and
no farting. If that was
well,
farting,
yeah,
they need
that's
to get
true.
their bowels checked. I mean, there was some poop coming out.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, you would run and you're, running along and killing dudes and whatever, and then you pass by this deer that is so scared that it's like pooping everywhere, and that's fine. And then it's just like poop because all these animals are all scared and they're running away from this big boss thing. Then
Mhm.
you fight the big boss and then you die and then you respawn way back and then you have to watch all the pooping animals again. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Oh my god, they're scared and there's poop everywhere. And it just like over and over and over and over. And yes, I died a lot, but still.
Were you playing co-op?
Yes. Yeah, well,
Okay.
I played. My best friend came to visit, and we played together.
Oh. I played
So
with
local co-op, just the
yeah,
two of
yeah.
us.
I played online with two of my buddies, and we played that level, and it's a lot of fun just like getting in there and shooting the shit and just killing things.
Hmm.
But that poop level, like the joke was funny up until the bear, and then as soon as the poop is being used to propel the deer you're riding as your escape vessel, that's when
Yeah,
it was like, ah, okay.
I had totally forgotten about that.
Well, sorry to bring that back into
But
your
yeah,
memory, but no, this game does not sort of grab me, Charlie
yeah,
Murder. It's
no,
just
not at all.
which is fine. There's always a dud, which
That's
brings us
true.
to
Yeah.
Flashback, which is interesting. Supposedly a remake, but I don't remember playing Flashback.
Yeah, no, me either. And I looked at the screenshots and stuff, and I watched the trailer from E3 that was supposed to be the Summer of Arcade, showcase or whatever. And I swear to God, there was more slow motion people doing things that were not video games than there were actual gameplay footage. So,
Mhm.
I mean, in between the slow motion volleyball player and the surfer, there was like 10 seconds of gameplay from this flashback, and I couldn't even really tell what kind of a game it was.
Sort of looks like Shadow of the Colossus. Or
Hmm.
no, that's wrong.
I was, I was,
Shit, what is that? It's Shadow of the Colossus. Why would that pop into my head? It's another sort of side-scrolly was a game for Xbox and was on Summer of Arcade.
mhm.
Crap, now all I can think about is Shadow of the Colossus. It's had Nolan North as the main voice, which probably doesn't help at all.
Yeah, isn't he in
Um,
everything?
Shit, it's right there. It's like the
That's
guys who
okay.
made Infinity Blade. Come
We'll
on,
come back to it. We'll come back
fine,
to
come
it.
back. But it's like 800 points out the 21st, and
The
I
only
mean,
reason that I think I might pick this up is because it's only 800 points, and I'm pretty sure that I have 800 points sitting in my Microsoft account, but I can't check.
Shadow Complex. It was
Ah.
Shadow. But no, we keep mentioning the trailer that we watched. I actually, when I first found out that Summer Arcade was around, if you load up your Xbox, it's front and center, and there's if Microsoft does one thing well, they do promotions for games really well once you actually get to the promotion
Mhm.
page. And it's literally just four squares, each of the games with their price points there. And you click on it, and it loads a trailer, and it's a dedicated, like 2 to 5 minute
Mhm.
trailer for that game. And that's probably your best bet to figure out whether you want it.
Was it
And
always just 4 titles?
I believe last year was
I was gonna
five.
say I remember 5, but I
I
could
think
be
it's just
wrong.
the month of August, so it must be
Yeah.
four.
Hmm.
Maybe the free game it was always
Was
something.
making me think that there was 5. That's true.
um,
So what is the free game that if you, and this is another thing, it says buy any 2 or more arcade games. Wasn't it 3 or more before? Wasn't it basically you could only miss out on one, and if you missed out on more than that, you didn't get the bonus? So they're dropping the one requirement, which is good.
well, it's because you're not getting it. I don't know what Ascend Hand of Cool is. It sounds neat, but
Hmm.
you get a soul pack for it. So maybe it's a
Oh,
free play game, and you're getting sort of like
a
a starter
bonus, yeah.
booster pack or something.
Hmm.
But I don't know anything about it. But all these games for Xbox Summer of Arcade, you can download the demo,
Hmm.
like any XBLA game. But the final one actually looks the most interesting because
Oh,
I'm a
right. I
huge
totally
fan.
skipped it. Sorry.
Well, we'll quickly mention it. It looks like the highest value one in terms of production, but it's TMNT Out of the Shadows. It sort of looks cool, but also looks weird. Now we owe whoever owns the Ninja Turtles like millions of
I
dollars.
don't think what I just did there counts as actually
Turtles are
using
yeah.
the Ninja Turtle theme in any way that benefits myself. I just made an ass of myself, and that doesn't count.
If anything, they owe us money. I was kind of hoping DuckTales would be on here so we could do that thing, but it's not.
DuckTales. Woo!
So Out of the Shadows comes out on the 28th, and it's 1,200 points, and that one's like a four-player brawler. But it
That one
looks
looked fun.
yeah, it looks like you get to play as the four turtles, but the combat sort of looks kind of like the Batman games a
Right.
little. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. So, but yeah, again, with the launch of the Xbox One, I guess the offerings of Summer of Arcade not so hot this year. But I mean, we get the Xbox One coming out. Uh, do we actually have a date? No, just
No,
November, right?
I think
Or
they
holiday
just said
season?
I think PS4 is holiday, and Xbox One is November.
Hmm.
But there's been rumblings that a lot of people think because PlayStation said holiday season, they could throw it out at the end of October.
Right, right.
You know,
Oh yeah,
which
because
mm,
Black Friday,
yeah.
Thanksgiving, all that kind of stuff. Or no, wait, that is that in November? I don't know. Americans do Thanksgiving at a really weird time, so I always forget.
Shit. I think Black Friday is end of November,
Yeah, I don't
so
know.
I don't know.
But
Whatever.
anyways.
This is a Canadian podcast. If
Yeah.
anything, if you say Thanksgiving, it's like what? PS4 is coming out October
October,
12th?
yeah.
Awesome.
Woo!
Everyone's just like, what?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna confuse people. So I think that pretty much brings us to the end of our show. This is actually the week to give away our copy of Tomb Raider, and that is went out to everyone who bought a Gamers In shirt. I'm having trouble talking tonight. Sorry. Anyone who
We all,
bought a Gamers In T-shirt between now and all the way back to the beginning of July. So you had about 6 weeks. If you purchased a Gamers In T-shirt, you were entered into the draw to win a copy of Tomb Raider. And our winner is, drumroll, Jim Bean! Yay!
yay, Jim.
So we are very excited, and I believe Ryan, do you have Jim on Steam?
Oh yeah, we'll get Jim
We'll get him his copy of Tomb Raider.
he'll be getting it.
I'm excited. I
It's a
still
good game.
haven't played it. Fucking Steam sales.
Oh, it's so good. Boot it up and, and
I have
you'll
like
love it.
I have like 10 or 12 things that I bought at the Steam sale, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna play all the games. I haven't played the games.
Yeah, I feel bad. I mean, my Steam list is there too. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But Tomb Raider's awesome.
I will try to get to that before next week. I'll try.
Cool.
Try. So you can visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com or email us at info@gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV along with other fabulous podcasts including Starcast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, and This Week in Blizz. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. So before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Greg Moffat for creating our music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We would also like to thank Joel Duggan, who does all of our graphic work. You can find him and everything he does at joelduggan.com. So thanks for staying at the Gamers Inn, and remember to tune in next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Pikmin 3.